Hey, it's Eric, your YouTube dad, back with another video and a lip beard. Today I'm gonna teach you why and how you should shoot with 2 cameras and why I shoot with all prime lenses. That's insured, I think. There are two main reasons why you need 2 cameras when you're photographing a wedding. 1, you need a backup. This is not a joke. If one of these cameras goes down, you need one to replace it. You never want to be in a situation where the camera goes down and you have to photograph with iPhone portrait mode. For me, I have 2 Canon 5D Mark IV bodies, and each of them have 2 card slots. So it's redundant writing to each card. In case one card fails, the other one will back it up. In case one camera body dies, the other one will back it up. Number 2, you could sport 2 different lenses on your 2 camera bodies so that you get 2 different looks. In all seriousness, joking aside, I shoot with 2 cameras on a wedding day, mostly because I can sport 2 prime lenses. And I want to show you my perspective on why I shoot prime lenses. First up is my Sigma 24 Art. This is for establishing shots, wide landscape stuff, and when I'm in close proximity to things. I don't recommend buying the Sigma Art series because tons of people have focusing issues with these. Thankfully, I haven't had any focusing issues with my 24, but as soon as I do, I will probably be trashing it and getting Canon glass. Next up is my Canon 35 f1.4. This is the Mark I. I've heard the Mark II is really good as well. This is one of the most versatile lenses I have because it's great for photojournalism with wide angle stuff, and it's really versatile for portraits, especially with its low aperture at 1.4. The 45mm tilt shift. I pretty much exclusively use this for creative portraits, or if I want to shoot details or anything else I shoot normally with normal prime lenses creatively or differently. Did a whole video about my tilt shift and how I use it creatively, so if you want to go check that out, it's linked in the description. Linked in the description. My other most versatile lens, my 50mm f1.2. This thing goes wide open, more wide open than most lenses could possibly go at 1.2. This is amazing for portraits as well as photojournalism across the room or really shallow depth of field for portraiture. Another lens I use all the time, the 85 f1.2. 2 main reasons why I use this: it reaches across the room very well at low apertures in dark situations, and it's amazing for portraits. I made a really cool video about this lens where you stitch a bunch of portraits at a really shallow depth of field, 1.2, to get this really crazy effect. If you want to watch it, it's linked in the description. I gotta stop saying that. And the lens that I use most infrequently, the 135 f2. Pretty much only use this when I have to reach across a really far room or a really far setting, or if I want to do something creatively where there's a lot of distance between me and the subject. I took a lot of time making this shot. The reason I use prime lenses primarily is because they go down to low apertures. That low aperture helps in low light situations because the wider your aperture is on your lens, the better it does in low light, and that happens a lot at weddings. You find yourself in low light situations often. Also, prime lenses force me to be more creative because they force me to move my body, as opposed to a zoom lens, which is making me feel more comfortable staying in the same place and zooming in and out at one thing. A prime lens forces me to move my body, see something new, and actually stimulates more creativity. And then also that low aperture just makes for beautiful portraits in a way that stopping to 2.8 doesn't. I like shooting wide open for portraits a lot. That shallow depth of field looks really nice and creamy. Don't say that, it's disgusting. I'm sorry I said it. To start off the day, I have a 24 on my left camera and a 50 on my right camera. Now my reasoning for that is that I'm really close to people, in close proximity with people when I'm shooting the beginning of a wedding day. So I like to have a 24 to get stuff that's right next to me. A wider field of view, a wider angle lens to capture everything that is right next to me. I like the 50 on my other hip because this is the first telephoto lens in the series of my lenses, and I can start getting shallower depth of field, more for like detail shots and getting across the room a little bit more. I don't think I ever really need an 85 in this setting because that starts to get a little too cramped. I find myself getting up in the corner of a room on my tiptoes when I have an 85 during getting ready, so the 50 works perfectly, especially for the shallow depth of field on detailed shots. I know I haven't mentioned it yet in this video, but this harness that I'm wearing is called the Holdfast Moneymaker, and I've used it for a good 6 years now in photographing weddings. I started out shooting primes with 2 camera bodies, and I've always had this as my setup because I can be hands-free and do things, whether it's situating a detail shot or helping out with the wedding party. I'm actually really excited now. Holdfast reached out to me to be an ambassador for their brand. So if you check out the affiliate link in the description and buy one or buy something from their website, you will be supporting me, your YouTube dad. Moving to the ceremony, I switched from a 24 to a 35 millimeter lens just because things are starting to distance themselves from me. They're not so close in my face. I'm still able to get wider shots with the 35 and things that are somewhat close but not right next to me. And I'll switch out the 50 to an 85 because usually a ceremony space has more room and I can shoot from farther distances. Plus, this goes down to 1.2, really good in low light. This goes down to 1.4, also really good in low light. So I'll find myself shooting a lot of processional stuff with this, with people coming in, walking in down the aisle. I'll usually grab both, a wide angle and a tight shot, but I'll find myself using this primarily for the rest of the ceremony, shooting over shoulders, shooting vows, down the aisle, a long distance shot, rings, vows, all that good stuff, shooting on the 85. Now, if I'm in a big Catholic church or somewhere that just has a lot of distance, I will switch over to the 135. And this is usually the only time I will rock the 135 is when I need to go down a really long aisle or get a ton of reach in my shot. Never really feel like I need to do anything more focal length wise than a 135. Also in the ceremony, I will carry this Ona shoulder bag. This isn't mine, it's my studio mate's because I left mine at home. Sorry. I rarely ever change lenses in the middle of a ceremony. I'm usually always good with a 35 and an 85, but I will keep this on my side just in case I have a lens malfunction or I need another battery. I have battery in here or another card if I run out of data. Flip this open, get a new card, swap it out. Or I want to do a stylized shot like with a tilt shift. After the ceremony, when we go into portraits, I will also rock this, usually a 35 and an 85 during portraits. And I'll keep my 45 tilt shift and my 50 millimeter in the bag, maybe the 24 if I need it for a circumstance with a really wide shot. But you can always stitch together 2 35 images. That's a tip, that's a spicy tip for you. Probably not gonna include that. You could still be hands-free, but it's really easy to access things that you need when you need them. So another lens, another battery, another card, all right here on your hip. I never want a video like this to be incentive for you to just copy everything I do. I actually want you to use this as creative fuel to do whatever you want to do with your craft. If that means incorporating prime lenses or maybe buying a tilt shift, carrying a side bag, or getting a double camera harness, whatever it is, I hope that it leads you to make a decision for yourself and to lean into what makes you different, which is what I always preach on this channel. Hope you're not sick of it. If you'd like to hear more about things that I teach when it comes to shooting weddings, I've linked a bunch of other videos that I've made in the past year about photographing weddings, so go check those out. People keep asking me about where I get the seamless paper, so I also linked that down there. You're welcome. You can follow me on Instagram at eric.floberg, and please don't forget to like this video because it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and it will send it to people who might want to know this information, who don't know their YouTube dad yet. I gotta stop with that joke. Please also leave a comment about my lip beard to help with the algorithm as well. Or if you want to ask any questions, I will happily answer as many as I can. And you know me, I respond to comments because I care about you. And if you love my lip beard, please make sure to subscribe so you could see it more. My name is Eric. That was how to shoot a wedding with 2 camera bodies and prime lenses. Hope you learned something. I will see you in the next video. I love you, squad fam. So to start off the day,
Kuya.